right, we're live.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to episode number 4 of the Ask Hearns. Actually, no, it's not Ask Hearns. We got used to Ask Hearns, but this is Hearns at home.
That's it.
Hello, we see Con coming online. Hi, Con. Good to see you again.
Hello. Yep, so back at home. So, what have we got? Another couple of weeks, maybe?
Hopefully,
Yeah.
2 more to go. Only. Okay, so we're waiting a few minutes. A few more people coming online. We've got almost 20 now, so thank you everyone for joining us. Meanwhile, let us know what you've been up to this week. I'm sure everyone has been modeling, hopefully, or doing some projects. Just let us know in the comments.
That's it. I think we've all been busy this week, haven't we?
It has been a very busy week, definitely. So, I guess thank you everyone again for joining us tonight. So, different format for those that are first time joining us. We are obviously recording from home. We are in Melbourne, Australia, and we are under some strict lockdown. So we obviously cannot operate from the shop. So BJ and myself are at home, and we are trying to deliver this at home. So hopefully you enjoy this new format.
A few people come on.
Yes.
So we've got Mr. Savage Zan. Hello. Haven't seen you in a while.
Hey, Sammy. Good to see you. All right. Warwick is
Hello.
online. Tony. Wow, everyone. Fantastic.
Yep, Tony. Excellent.
Right, Noel. Okay, so let's
Yes.
start with the competition, BJ. So almost at the end of this big competition.
That's it. So this is the biggest competition we've ever had. So this is a 3-week competition. It's a competition on dioramas or vignettes. They can be of any sort of genre, meaning you can have a military or civil or fantasy, science fiction type of thing. So with 3 weeks, we've had 2 weeks already. There's quite a number of really good, interesting entries. And we've only got 1 week to go. So get on it, and I'd like to see some more there. So remember that the more entries we get, so you can do multiple entries as well, the higher the prize pool gets. And first, second, and third will receive gift vouchers to be used at the shop. So keep them coming.
That's fantastic. So talking about competition, I think this week was very exciting. There was an announcement about a sort of a competition, about an interesting event at the Velodrome.
Yes,
So what do you know?
Velodrome. I'm one of the guys that love the Velodrome. So I heard about it, when in my younger days, and when I started working in the hobby industry, started going. So the velodrome was always at the Coburg Velodrome, it's a concrete surface, and it's basically used for cycling in an oval, and we just put our RC cars out there and drive them around really fast. It's great fun. So Tony Gray is one of the organisers of the upcoming velodrome, which we're hoping he's going to put on during January if everything pans out right. And I'm looking forward to going. I think a lot of us are looking forward to going. Just to have a bit of fun. So if you're interested, just jump on our Facebook page and go to the events section. So you'll see our diorama competition event, and then there's also the velodrome event. So there's not a lot of info there at the moment, but just put in your interest so you just keep getting updated as we get closer to the event. But it's going to be good.
So we just put a link on the comments, and
Yep, that's it.
I guess we are all quite excited. So I think we're all going to try to put together one or more cars. Those that have done it before suggested that we turn up with a few cars, because some cars will eventually fall apart and crash and get destroyed. So for more enjoyment, you will need more cars. So make sure you post all your development projects on the event page, and we will do the same. So BJ has a couple of his projects here.
So yes, I've got my Select 4 here that's been used as a speed car. So I'm just going to continue modifying that. I've got another chassis being set up there with a bigger speed controller on it. So hopefully we'll use some bigger batteries and see it go mega fast.
So very much looking forward to this one. So let us know in the comments if you're keen, so we can keep in touch, and make sure you send through some pictures or some photo of your cars as we go along.
Yes.
So back to our usual car challenge. So today we got 2 little cars. So let's see if anyone Oh, let me see if you can focus them up like this. If anyone can guess what cars are those. So today they're much smaller. They're in 1/87 scale, more for railway, but they're really, really nice. So let us know which car this may be.
Very cool.
Okay, so we were talking about the competition, and this is the Diorama competition. So we are going to have a quick talk about weathering and all different type of weathering. How do we call them, BJ? Pigments or more powders? Or
Yes, yes. So there's a lot of different weathering things available now straight out of the bottle. I mean, in the old days, you had to mix up your own concoctions to make muds and washes and pigments and such. But now you can get them all in very handy small containers. A lot of them are made by Vallejo and a lot of other different brands as well. So I'll just introduce a few of those different things. Put them all at back here. So let's see. I guess might start with washes.
let's see. So
Okay,
I've
so
got it here, so let's see a bit better.
that's it. Okay, so washes are basically a very thin version of a paint. So the idea of a wash is it can travel through crevices and settle on crevices very easily. So it adds a shadow tone. So it accentuates the three-dimensionality of a shape, and also it can add certain streaking effects that you won't be able to get with regular paint. So it's a bit hard to see, but it's a very, very watery inside. You can make your own washes. In the old days, you just get a regular paint and you mix the thinner through it. So the Vallejo paints are all water-based. So you can mix these regular Vallejo paint with water to make your wash. Or if you had enamels, you can mix it with turpentine or enamel thinner. Or I guess if you want to do lacquers, I mean, not many people do lacquer washes, but that'll be just with lacquer thinners. So here you go. So straight out of the bottle, ready to use. So you can get these in multiple colors. This particular one is a rusty type tone, but you can get washes all the way from white. You go through all your brown tones, red tones, grey tones, and all the way to black. So black's also very, very popular too, because that's the perfect shadow tone. So that's washes. So you basically apply these over the top of your base colors.
It's this one here.
So, yeah, like that. Okay, so from washes, you can get into more textured effects. So I'll be showing you some thick muds. I'll bring those over here. So what have I got here? Okay. So I've got some thick muds. So I've got 3 here, but they've got a lot more in their range. And I just brought these 3 because I think it's a bit easier to see the differences between their tones. You can see there. Okay, so you've got this one here, which is like a light grey. That's more like a concrete looking, very light coloured mud. Now the difference with the muds compared to other paints is, opposed to a wash, these are very, very heavy in consistency. Okay, so they're more like a paste. And as you apply them, you generally put them on with a spatula, or you can thin them down with water as well. And they have a grit in them. So it's a very fine, sandy appearance. And then when they dry, they dry very solid. Okay, that's the easiest way to put mud on vehicles or even on surfaces. And then you can also get splash mud, which is a thinner version. So splash mud you can put onto a toothbrush, and you just flick it onto your bottle or the surface. And these, of course, you can get in various colors as well. Okay, so go for that. Now within there as well, we've got these interesting mud and grass effects. So this is the thick mud, which has been mixed with grass, and you might be able to just see here. You see how there's an empty pocket there? So that's the air in there. So that gives you an idea of how thick it really is. And when you brush this onto the surfaces, you'll see a very like chopped up grass that's been driven over and such. So it gives a very realistic effect. So this is available in various tones of green and brown. So that's something that's really handy to use as well in your dioramas. Now, after all that, so you get your pigments. Okay, so pigments are basically a powdered chalky type material. So within these. You might just see it there, it's a bit loose. So it gives that very dusky effect. Also gives a look of soot. And you can mix it up with thinner and then brush it onto a surface. The thinner will evaporate and just leave the pigment behind. And then you can also seal that with a flat clear. So if you want to do exhaust out of vehicles, it's very easy to brush that on. Or if you want to get the collected dust and such inside vehicles in the corners of doors, this is also the stuff to use. And then you can also use that to dust windscreens and dust surfaces as well. So that's your pigment. So in the old days, you used to get your contact crayons, or you got your chalk, and you scrape it down on a sandpaper to make your pigments. But now, just buy in a bottle, and this sort of size, it'll last you ages. Okay, so that's the weathering materials you can get. So they're just a few of the little things that will help you make your dioramas quicker and more realistic, rather than spending a lot of time creating your own pigments and mud effects and such. And just like here, there's one of these buildings that are made by Mini Art, so I'll be using that in one of my dioramas, and I might give you a bit of a look inside that in a sec, just to show you how much easier that makes it as well, rather than scratch putting your own buildings.
That's really good, actually. So one more one I would like to pull up that I find very interesting.
Yep.
It's a scenic snow. So this is a kit, more for Christmas, I guess. We're not too far away once again, to recreate the snow effect. So this is a kit from Deluxe material, and it contains I think three different parts to recreate the different aspect of the snowflakes and the snow effect, which is really, really interesting.
So yeah, so it's good. It's got quite a lot of white material, which is similar to a white and muddy looking type material. So it gives the look of heavy dumped snow. And then there's also a small container of crystals, so it gives it that sparkle, which you can put on the top. And what's the third one? The third one must be...
It's a bonding, actually. I think there is a bonding material, mostly. Let's see here.
Oh, okay. So there's the bond material.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the bigger container, which has got the flakes, and that's the sparkles there, and then that's to glue it all together. So particularly snow effects, I mean, they look really great if you can get them done right, but it's very hard to get that realistic snow look. So with this sort of set, makes it much easier indeed. Okay.
Very good. So we've got a few comments here, so let's...
Oh, okay. So Ned wants you to put the cars back up.
Yeah, we're going to put the cars back up. Meanwhile, let's see. Mark is asking the difference between, well, it was mentioned it, but Vallejo and AK Interactive are producing some of the best and most comprehensive range of...
That's right. Yes. So between those two brands, that's right, you can get any sort of effect you want and make it very easy. If you want to do rust effects, any sort of weathering effect, any effect you want to do, actually, you can get it off the shelf.
That's right. There you go. We got the cars again. I don't know whether they look a bit out of focus here. Can you guys see them? Let me know if you can see them.
So it's a bit tricky, isn't it? Because they're actually two quite different cars.
There we go. So a couple of other comments up here. Let me scroll up in time as I keep the cars up here. So it looks like Rob has got a car for the speed run car that he's preparing. So Rob, will be looking forward to see your car once it's ready. Pop some pictures up on the event page so we all get into these.
So Con says EH Holdens. Is one an EH Holden?
Let me check the instructions here. Yep, one it is.
What about an HQ?
No, HQ is out.
Oh, how about HR?
HR is also out.
No.
EH, yeah, I think Jezza may be the winner there.
Oh, EH Holden Ambulance, yeah.
That's it. That's the one. Let's keep guessing.
Yep.
We'll park them aside, actually show them one more time, and then we will put them away.
Yep. So the Ute, we we still haven't got the ute yet.
There we go.
It's really nice for a really small scale.
They are very well detailed, absolutely. So, okay, so moving to the next one is we're gonna show an article. Vijay, do you want to do an introduction to this one?
The article. So
Yeah.
this is an ad from
The net, sorry.
it was 19. What was it again? 1980, 87, 88. So it's showing the month's specials from Hearns Hobbies.
Here we
And
go.
so this is back in the days when I was right into my racing too. I just started getting my car, and actually, the car that's there is the car that I purchased from Hearns. It was a Yokomo dogfighter. So brings back a bit of memory of that one. I didn't remember I paid $350. I mean, that would have been lots of pocket money. First, second, third, and TQ at the World Champs.
That was a winner.
There you go. So that would have been the heydays of Masami Hirosaka. So what would that have been? That would have been Super Dogfight 1987 for sure.
Very nice. So that's a Yokomo, and just a couple of weeks back we were still talking about Yokomo. So that just to say that Yokomo has been around for a very long time now.
Very long time, yes.
It's
and it's interesting that I mean we had Yokomo back then a long time ago, and we're still carrying Yokomo now, and they're still a world class company.
Absolutely.
So even the modified motors.
Yeah, so we have a Yokomo modified motors. Yes, that was a 14, 15, and 16 turn motor for $80.
Yeah, so that would have been mild modifieds back then, because hot modifieds would have been like a 12 turn, which back then was unbelievable. I mean, you'd melt speed controls with those sort of motors, and I remember melting quite a few plugs. A lot of people would turn up and they'll have melted Tamiya plugs as well. And so I don't know if everyone remembers back in the day, but electronic speed controllers weren't as readily available as they are today. They used to be wiper type resistor speed controllers. So if you remember the Tamiya cars, the classic cars used to have the 3-step speed controllers. So they used to have two resistors, which are externally mounted, or sometimes they had a single resistor with 3 contacts on it. And the resistors controlled first and second speed, because basically first speed would go through both the full length of the resistor and give you a third of the speed, and then second speed would be going through half of the resistor. So it's 2/3 speed, and then full speed was just no resistor, straight from the battery. Now, the issue you had there was because it was a mechanical contact, because it was rubbing like this, you'll see quite a few sparks, and the amp handling of those dry contacts wasn't very good, so they tended to burn out like a pit. And then after that, they started using, particularly on on-road cars, or wire wound resistors. So that's where the resistor was wound around like this, and you had a wiper across the top. So whenever you touched a particular section, it'll be at a different range of the resistor, so it give you a smoother effect. Now, ultimately, transistors were the way to go, and you'll see some electronic speed controls there by Kits on that ad as well. So what have they got there? So that's a Kits K80, and wow! So you can imagine $150 basically for an electronic speed controller back in the day. I mean, that's close to half the value of the Super Dogfighter.
And then so they had 2 versions of the speed controller, that the Magic and the Super. Yep. So I guess the Super would be more of a modified version, I guess. Was it?
Yeah, so I think it had more FETs, allowing it to handle more amps from memory.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of difference in price, is it? So
no, very much.
Again, an extra $10 would have been a lot of money back then, because you probably would have been able to buy lunch for like $2.
And then we had the 1700 milliampere batteries. Wow, saddle pack. 1700. Yeah, that's a big change. Today 1700 won't last very long for our racing. Will be a matter of a few minutes.
And saddle packs are quite rare these days. I guess they did have some LiPo saddle packs a little while ago, but they're pretty much single packs now. So the whole idea was the saddle packs were you had 2 packs, and these to lay on either side of the chassis to give a more balanced weight distribution. Then you had the copycat tires.
Pin tires.
So copycat tires were basically copies of the Shoemaker cat tires, which were a very sparse pin um, tread pattern, and they tend to be the choice of competition cars back in during that time. But as you can see, $5 a pair. I mean, that's very cheap.
So here it is. Very interesting. A bit of history here.
Yep, bit of nostalgia.
Absolutely. So.
Oh, retro Rob's got a 870C on the shelf. Well, that's basically the same car that I had when I first bought it. So it's like that one there. Classic.
Wow.
Magnesium motor mount.
Interesting. Well, Rob, if you send through some pictures, we may put them up next week on for the next live. Send us some pictures, and yeah, they'll be really good to see them.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so let's see if anyone has any question. Meanwhile, we should move to another RC topic. Let's see if anyone can guess what chassis this may be. So this week we were very lucky that Brett and his father-in-law put a bit of time to build one of those kits for us, and was done virtually overnight, actually within a few days. So we have this one just here ready to go. Very impressive kit, actually. I haven't had a chance to have a look at it before then, and it's really well refined.
Oh, Tony's sort of close, but not quite.
It's definitely a front-wheel drive, but not a Yokomo. Yokomo yet doesn't have a front-wheel drive, so this is a 3 Racing front-wheel drive race kit. So front-wheel drive is something that started again in the last probably 12 months or so, probably less, and most companies, including X-Ray and Asomatics and 3 Racing and so forth, have produced front-wheel drive, which is a version, modified version of the traditional touring car without the transmission going towards the back and with the motor at the front, as you can see here. Very interesting construction, actually, with the differential at the front and all the gearing just here, as you can see. Can tune the flex of the car by adding, if you can see here, the splitting on the top deck here. So the top deck split and add a bit more flex. So if you add more screws here, then you reduce the flex and therefore change the grip throughout the car. The battery goes in the middle here, so it's quite centered from a weight perspective. And here we go.
There's a lot of positions to fit different batteries.
Absolutely, yes. You can definitely fit quite a few different batteries here. Shorties, perhaps, as well, which would be pretty good.
Well, also, it might be losing it a bit.
Let's see if recovers. Let's give it a moment. Okay, I'll give it a moment. Okay, hopefully it's all back. So a couple of more details. Let's see if we can get close enough. You got some really well made shocks actually in this 3 Racing kit. So this company's come a long way, producing some really high quality kits, and this is one of those that do all a series of mini, 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive as well now.
Yeah, very classy.
Very classy, and that's your chassis.
Yeah,
so
it's fully carbon.
Fully carbon. Also the servo mount is carbon fiber, which is quite nice. It's composite. There is some carbon fiber and obviously some alloy parts. They fit into the chassis here. That's an alloy part here. Here we go. So
yeah, that's cool.
Front wheel drive kit. A Mega and body shell available. Ooh, that would be interesting. I think the Renault Megane was my first car actually when I learned driving, so that would be a good one, Warwick. You should try to look for one. That would be good. But we have this one ready. So
that's a brand new body.
That is a brand new body. So we showed this body clear just about a week ago, and once again, Brett spent a few hours on a weekend to prepare this one and paint it up. And that's a BT Design 720 body. GT. 110 scale, obviously. Very nice. So this is mounted on a Yakima BD10. Let's have a look at this one as well. Let me put the body clips.
Well, the BD10 is the latest chassis in Yakima. So it differs a bit from the BD9 in that it's got a few redesigned components, suspension components, and also the weight distribution in the motor has been shifted. So the current trend now is to move the motor closer to the center, as you can sort of see there. So it's sort of rear center.
So you got your spur gear here, and yeah, so that's a mid mount, so-called mid mount. So the BD10 obviously moved to the mid mount. The BD9 had a conversion kit by Aramax called Medius, which was enabling you to convert your rear mount, which used to be, the motor used to sit around this point here, now it's moved a bit more in the middle, so you could convert your rear mount to mid mount, and now they're coming ready to go. So this is fully equipped with Dash electronics. So Dash is a brand of Aramax. Aramax is well famous for all the black and gold tools and all the different setup stations. So that's the latest Dash 602 servo, low profile servo, then speed controller, and this is a 30.5 motor. All quite nice with some nice wiring. Again, very nice to see white wiring, bit different, bit unusual. And here we have some new wheels from Sweep. We received them a few months back, and these are spoke wheels, very nice design, but they all have a thread pattern, which is more for wet racing, I guess, but will be very interesting to see those in GT racing. Quite of a different type of racing, a lot more realistic, specifically if you pair it with a nice body like this and these wheels. This car will look quite nice.
Real low pro.
Absolutely. So that's a BD10 with a BT Design 720 body, all brand new.
Yep, really good.
Very good. Okay, so let's see if there is any question coming up. Otherwise we should show this one, which is still not been guessed.
Is it an Australian car?
Is it an Australian car? That's a good question. Okay, let's give it a few seconds. It's hard to see on Facebook. Yeah, I can see. Let me see if I can get a bit more of focus on this one. Aha, that's better.
64 Holden EH Ute. That's pretty specific, isn't it?
Not quite. Is that
EK Holden?
EK? Yeah, I think we have a winner here.
Oh, EK. What's the colour called? That's the next question.
Ooh, that's an interesting name, actually. So Ian was very close with a year, but not quite with a name. So that's definitely an EK Holden.
Oh, FB? No, it's not an FB.
No, it's not an FB. Definitely we are in an EK. Which year? Let's see if we can guess the year.
So I guess we're left with the year and the colour.
And the colour, yeah, absolutely. Definitely blue, yeah.
Yeah.
Strata blue, not quite. Try again.
Oh, Works is blue too. Or popular vote is blue. 62.
62, very close. Very close here. Try again. Alpine. No, it's not an Alpine blue. Okay, so 58, no. Too early. So, somewhere in between. Yes, I think we got a winner. 61.
61.
61. That's a 1961 EK Ute. And
Yes,
Ian has got
sir.
the right color.
Which wood?
Wedgwood blue. Yes, 61. Well
Oh,
done.
there you go.
Here we go.
That's a winner, is it?
That is the winner.
61 Wedgwood Blue.
Well
What
done.
was it? EK, was it?
That's the EK Ute. Yes.
Ah,
Good one.
excellent.
So,
Well done.
I'm not sure we got the year of this one, so let's see if someone, the next little bit, can guess the year of this one.
I have to get closer to see that one.
Okay, so while we think about this one, BJ, do you have a couple of kits to show us tonight?
Yeah. Well, let's start with one kit, which is interesting. It's from a new brand called I Love Kit, which is an interesting name in itself, I guess. Um, Here we go. It's a Fokker DR1. Okay, so I Love Kit. So I Love Kit, I think is what was it? I had the other brand on the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember now. It'll come to me. So I Love Kit. So this is a rebranding of a kit that's already been released. So it's 124 scale, which is quite large for a aircraft model. But being a World War One type aircraft, it's not overly big, but it's a decent build. So let's just open it up and have a quick look. Okay, so for all you guys that don't know, the DR1 is famous because it's the last plane flown by the Red Baron von Richthofen, and there's always been speculation about who actually shot him down. Quite a few people think it was the Aussies, and some Aussies actually have the cockpit of the DR1 of his, and it's in the Canberra War Memorial Museum. If you want to have a look at that. Okay, so let's just go through some sprue. So you can see the fuselage there. It's quite large. It's close to 30 centimeters long, maybe 25 centimeters. And I guess if we get a bit closer, maybe not. You can just see some of the bits and pieces. So you've got the fuselages are in full shape there. But interesting enough, that on the next sprue that I'm going to show you, you've got the internal framework. So let's see if I just move this light. Don't get too much reflection. How's that? Okay, so you get your framework here and here. And then you've got all the struts for the wings across here. And then you've got a lot of really fine details here, which will be push rods for the engines. Okay, so we've got that across here. Now, there's not a lot of bits to this, which means it's got a lot of surface detail already molded in. So you've got the tail plane, which is a triangle section, and you'll see that it's got the rib sections. See the rib sections there? So they're molded in really well. And then you have the engines. You've got the radial for the engines. You've got the exhaust collectors. There's the engine cowling. You've got bulkheads here. There's the vertical stabilizer. And then you've got this is the what do you call that? That's the part of the undercarriage. So it was another wing. So you imagine this is a triplane, so it has three wings and also that smaller one with the undercarriage, so it had lots of lift. So there you go, there's a huge sheet that's going around this way. Okay, so you got your three major wings there. So you got your, where is it? This would be your upper, and then you've got these sections here, which is the mid wing. Actually, this is probably the upper here. There we go. Okay, and that's pretty much all there is to the plastic. But it's a big model, being 24 scale. Now it's nice in that they give you some photo etch details. Okay, so the photo etch here. So I'd like to see that. See how it's got all the little holes. Those sections here will be rolled up, and they'll be the cooling jackets for the machine guns. And then there's a few little brackets here, which will probably be for the guy wires for the wings. And then You've got a sheet of decals, so you've got the Birkenkraws here, which is the crosses. So you've got some options there. And then it's a bit hard to see, but this is camouflaging for the wings. And then we've got the manual, I think. I've lost the manual. Oh, the manual I'll put over here. So, there you go, there's the manual. So I'm still trying to remember brand. Oh, it's Merit. So Merit was the original brand that this was released in. It's just been renamed I Love Kit. Okay, so you've got colour there to give you an indication of decals and different colourings. And you could always paint it red as well because it's famous as red. And there's one of the options for the red scheme. So it has some camo and red as well. Okay. And then you get your standard sort of manual where it's step by step and very easy to follow. So all the way over here. And you see you're doing the wing sections. And then there's the undercarriage with that little aerofoil there. You're doing the tail. And then eventually you get to the end there with a finished product. So that's my quick open box for the new I Love Kit 124 scale DR1 triplane by which is an old Merit kit. So there you go. That's a nice kit all together.
Very nice. So
Okay.
yeah, Warwick was asking if this is a sub brand of Trumpeter. So effectively, Trumpeter Merit, which is now called by the look of it, I Love Kit, and there's a couple of other ones, BJ, that under the same umbrella. I think under the Trumpeter.
Hobby Boss, is it?
Hobby Boss, that's correct. So and I guess Easy Model as well, are part of the same large family.
Yes.
So definitely. So Sam is asking if you can do a review of the Fiat 500F 112 scale kit upcoming in an upcoming show. We can.
I think we could. We still have it, don't we?
We should have one of those actually. Yeah, definitely, yeah. That would be a good one. Thank you for the suggestion. We'll definitely look into that one actually.
Yeah, that one's got all the opening doors and panels.
Yeah, very good. So I think meanwhile we have a winner for this one, for this car, which is 1963 EH panel van, and that's an ambulance obviously.
Right.
And I think was it Jason? I think that guessed the ride just before. 63. Ian again. Very good. So what else we've got? Last week we talked about the Flinders Street Station Nanoblocks actually.
We did.
And today we actually received the tram as well, which BJ has behind there. And we were lucky enough to produce a video with a good friend of ours, Taylor. Produced a very nice video, which this week was featured in the What's on Melbourne. So very exciting. So it was a quick few second video which we did a few months back to introduce this model and represent the shop. So the Flinders Street Station Nanoblock and the tram. So the tram just arrived today.
Yep. So the tram's got 290 pieces, and the station had 430 pieces. So pretty cool. So W class tram, and just here you can see there's a mini little tram there too, just driving across here. So yeah, so we're quite lucky to have the video shared by
What's on?
Yep, What's on Melbourne, and which was a great thing because it really helps to promote shopping locally. So if you can, it's really great to support any of the shops in Victoria, and particularly in Melbourne, which are undergoing stage 4 lockdown at the moment. It really helps us all sort of pull through. So it's really great.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess in a few weeks, hopefully, we'll be out of this lockdown, and will be very, very nice to see everyone still in business and see the CBD popping busy again. Hopefully not too far away. So if you give us more support, small help to all the CBD businesses in Melbourne in general, we'll see an opportunity for everyone to start up again in a few weeks, hopefully. So
Yep.
very good. Let's see if we get any more questions coming up. Otherwise, what else we've got here? We're going to talk about pinions and spur gears,
Yes.
which is an interesting topic. So I've got a few things here with me.
Yep.
So okay, so let me open a few here.
Let's see if anyone knows what the difference between a pinion and a spur is.
That's a good question. Meanwhile, I get
Yep.
ready. Actually, I probably don't need to open them. Okay, let's give it another second.
Yep. So pinions and spurs are quite important because they control the. Well, there you go. So you can see the white spur that's
on the
on
car.
the racing front-wheel drive car there, and then the pinion's going to drive that. So having different sizes controls the gear ratio. So the overall gear ratio controls the amount of acceleration and speed generated on the car, and that's all dependent on the motor that you choose to use with it. So you can have high revving motors which need to be geared appropriately to suit the performance of the car, and also high torque motors. So if you've got a high torque motor, then you need to gear it to maintain high speed.
See if you can
And
see.
then you can see on the BD10, so you've got the spur gear, which is black. It's just in the
This
center
one here.
there. Yep.
And obviously
And
the
then
pinion.
this offset, you've got the pinion inside.
You won't be able to see in here, but that's the pinion here. So I've got a few samples here. So it's probably easier to see this way. So that's the pinion, which generally speaking, it's some form of metal. Normally, it's for this type of racing car is aluminium, can be sometimes titanium, but for the racing car, generally speaking, is alloy. And this is your spur gear, which again normally is, well, I would say most of the time is plastic. And there's quite a few different variation of this pinion and spur gears. Obviously different sizes, as BJ mentioned. But as for spur gears, you have different type of designs. Let me grab a few different ones here. Here we go. So there's different designs that suit sometimes different applications. Sometimes it can be cosmetic, like this one is quite nice. Very nice design as well. This one can be used for ball differentials. And this is again another traditional spur gear, which is very commonly used by Aromax. So there's quite a few different designs, but there's also different pitches.
There are. So what is a pitch? So the pitch is basically the size of the teeth is on the gears. So if you can remember the early Tamiya sort of 1980s type chunky gears, they were 32 pitch, which from memory is 32 teeth per inch. And then they gradually got smaller and smaller. So the idea of bigger teeth is they're going to be tougher, but the disadvantage is you got a lot more backlash. Okay, so backlash means that big gears, there's going to be more movement this way. Now the smaller gears, it becomes tighter, which means you get a lot more acceleration. But your downside is the smaller gears, they become more fragile. So you've got 48 pitch, which is still commonly used in off-road racing, because 48 pitch is a good, alternative to having too chunky gear like 32 pitch, and it's not as fragile as 64 pitch. And then there's 64 pitch, which is super fine gears, and they're quite commonly used in on-road racing, because in on-road racing there's less stress. You don't have jumps. Well, you're not meant to have jumps, but occasionally there are when you're jumping over things. But because of less shock, you've got the advantages of 64 pitch. So the tinier gears allow you more adjustment because a single gear is smaller. It gives you a finer adjustment. And also the finer gears, because you have more surface area and contact, you actually can feel greater response and acceleration when you're using those smaller teeth. But then you've got the downside of they're easy to damage. So that's the basic explanation of what pitches with pinions and spurs. So I think I've got that all right.
Yeah. So, and as for the spur gear, there's different type of pinions as well. So these
Yep.
are three different types. So this is the Aromax version, which is fully drilled, really lightweight.
Yep.
It's quite nice. This is the
Yep.
Aromax, so the Axon interpretation of the same. So they did not drill it, but it's it is very hollow in here. So to reduce the weight, let me see if I can quickly focus
Yeah,
this.
quite hollowed out, isn't it?
Yeah, let's see if we can see this one. So that's quite light as well. So different approach to a similar problem. But then Aromax last year released the composite pinion. So this is not really new in the market. We've seen them before and they're back again. So these are plastic. So they've got the internal, say, hub in alloy, and then they've got a plastic gear around. Now these are really lightweight and they're also really thin.
Yep.
Let's see if you can actually see here.
So the idea behind being lightweight is the smaller the sprung weight, the quicker it should spool up. So theoretically, it should have more response with a lighter pinion.
Definitely. So the downfall of this, obviously, they're also thinner, so there's less friction as well. Obviously, the downfall is, they're a bit weaker, so it's easier to perhaps damage them or break them if there's some dirt or a stone goes through. This will get damaged pretty quickly. But they've been very popular also in off-road racing at some point. So they're quite reliable still. And then I was showing this before. That's a big chunky one. This one, let's see if we can focus it here. Here we go. This one, we tend to see those in more 1/8 scale cars, where you have a steel pinion. Obviously, because of the torque and the power that this car has to be steel. And generally speaking, you'll find they have a steel spur gear as well, because once we start going over 100 kilometers an hour with this type of accelerations, you definitely need more. And as you can see here, we got these are called Mod 1, and the teeth are quite chunky.
Yeah.
So
they're quite often used on the A-scale type electric cars.
That's right. So pinions is something, and gearing in general is a very important aspect of tuning any RC car electric specifically, because by changing the gearing you go faster and slower, but you also need to manage the specific gear ratio for your motor. If your gearing is not right, your motor will hover very, very fast, and you probably end up damaging it and perhaps even blowing it, which does happen.
So there you go. That's gears. So if you've got any more questions, if we missed something, then please ask us and we'll fill you in.
Yeah, so Noel is suggesting that the 64 pitch obviously gives you a finer FDR, which is a good point. So in touring car, generally speaking, we use 64 pitch. When you race on a bit more dirtier kind of trucks, some people prefer to put 48 pitch because it's safer. If there's some stones of the asphalt is a bit rough and there's a bit of gravel here and there, definitely 48 pitch could save you the race. So that's a good compromise. Just showing before actually. Forgot to put these two cars side by side, which is an interesting comparison. So front wheel drive and four wheel drive. Here we go.
So you can see the shape of the chassis is quite different.
The shape of the chassis is very different. Let's go on this side actually. Where are we? Here we go. So realistically, there are still 190 millimeter kind of wing width, similar kind of geometry overall, but obviously the weight distribution and the way they will operate is substantially different.
Yep.
So here we go. So let's see if you get any more questions for tonight. Otherwise, we'll see what else we've got around here. BJ, do you have anything else out there?
Well, I can show you what's inside this
Mini out.
building block. So this is something I've already cut open, so I can pull out all the individual screws. So Mini Art's got quite a variety of different buildings available. So this is just one of their simpler sets. So they've got another Diorama series, which has also got bases. but this is just the actual building section itself. So let's just break it open. Put that over there. Okay, so you get the bag of goodies. Now the interesting thing about these, so you'll see so there's a sheet of the building, so that's going to be this way up. So you see that it's got all this extra molding around it. Now that's because this is the old school vacuum form plastic. So if I hold it here, just see how thin it is. It's basically a thin sheet of plastic that's been put on top of mold, and then vacuum's been applied and it's been squeezed down. Now the advantage of doing it this way is it makes it a lot cheaper. Also makes it a lot lighter when you put it all together. But being like that, it means you need special techniques to put it together as well, because you have to take into account the thickness of this. So basically with this, you'll need to cut out all these to get the voids. So these are all the windows and the doorway, and across here. Now the trick to do that is you get your knife and you use the edge as a guide, and you cut along here on a 45-degree angle. So it's like so. So once you do that, so the angle there is to give you an idea of the thickness, because what you have to do is remove that thickness before you touch the other side. Because if you don't do that, it's going to be a mil and a bit out. So there you go. So there's the front end of it. So you can see how crisp just the lettering is there, which is quite amazing, because vac form isn't known for crispness, but it works very well in this circumstance. Okay, so we've got that, and got this bit here. Okay, so these are going to marry up like that. Okay, so they're going to be this sort of thickness in the end. So you need to sand away all that section, that thickness of the plastic, and then that gets glued together with regular plastic cement. Now you could fill that with plaster if you want to, like plaster of Paris, to give it a bit more strength, and then just paint it up like normal, like prime it, paint it, weather it, and then you can just glue that straight onto your surface. So they're the two main sheets that are vacuum formed, and then you get a packet of accessories. So you do what you like with these. So these are more traditional injection molded. So injection molding, you always get the framework of the sprue all the way around supporting it. So you get your door here. You got options for window louvers, window frames. There's even a fence here, which is actually like that. So there's a wrought iron fence. Then you got odd bits and pieces. So you can use these wherever you like. So you've got shutters here, wooden shutters, if you want. And then that's pretty much it for that. And then it just gives you some basic instructions on how to assemble the accessories. So just washed out there. So you get your doors, you got door jambs and frames, the windows, and then here's got it just shows you how the front end and the rear end go together. So that's it. So if you just use those basic tips for doing vac form plastic molds, just trim off that thickness of the plastic, and then before you glue it together, you'll be fine, and you'll end up with a really quick building that saves you a long time, and it's got a lot of texture with it as well.
Yes, Mini Art is a fantastic range of different buildings and structure, which has always been really interesting for me. I don't do this much modeling or that kind of stuff, but it's quite fascinating, the variety of all kind of buildings. And last week we were actually showing the road. They've got different roads. They've got actually a piece of railway track as well, and a tram with road. Yeah, all that, which is really nice. All the manual covers and all that kind of information, really. So that's really nice. I think we have a question here, BJ. What's the best way to cut out the windows? I guess that's not very thick, so hobby knife could be a good option.
Oh yeah, so the hobby knife is the best way. So I guess you use a similar tool technique you use for ready control cars. So you use a really sharp blade and you cut around the edge of the window, and then you make a little hole in the center, and then you could even use some short scissors, cut all the way up to the edges. So just so you've got your edges here, you cut this cross section there, and then once you cut this point there, that point there, and you score it along here, you
Just
gently
snap it
bend
off.
it, it'll come off cleanly. So that's the best way. So Kaiser Shorts also said that you probably cut from the back to get rid of the thickness. So you could, if you've got the bent section like this and you cut across here, you could do that rather than sand it. I just find that if you sand it, you got a more even, flat surface. Are there any kits from Northern Africa? From Tony? Yeah, there is, I think. So they're like a cement brick building. I think Miniart have got that in their catalogue, so I think so.
Wow, very nice.
Yes.
Very, very nice. Good range. Good. Well, before we finish up tonight,
Yep.
I think I need to show this one. This is the Mad Van. This is still one of my
Uh,
favorite. I talk every day about this, I think.
it's been all around the world.
This has been around the world. So I took this with me last year when I went to Germany, actually, to Nuremberg, to the toy fair, and then I took it with me to Italy. And this is the dust from Dubai, actually. And last weekend I was playing around with it, and I thought to put some different wheels, and here is the result. It's a bit different. So these are rock roller wheels, and I was just in a garage playing around, and I thought, oh, that's a good fit. So here we go, some different wheels. Not sure they will be very functional, but definitely interesting. And so this is the Mad Van from Kyosho. Really good fun car. It's actually a really basic chassis. It's actually a Phaser, I think it's called, a basic chassis, which is a non-road car chassis with which has been upgraded with bigger shock towers, bigger shock, and it's actually a good fun off-road truck, which is quite inexpensive. And
It's quite tough, isn't it?
yeah, these are quite tough actually. I run this one on a skate park as well, to part of the video, and it's surprisingly tough. Best part of this is at times we have a big crash. The front drive shaft here, let me see if we can show in the camera, could pop out, but it would go back in really easy. So it doesn't quite break, it just does have a bit of a popping out, and then in 2 seconds you put it back in and off we go. So this is a really good little car. You can actually upgrade. They have all the upgrade to turn this into brushless, which we haven't done yet, but you upgrade your drive shaft, which is plastic, you put it in metal, and the motor mount to be metal. As you put more power, you definitely need to do that, and I think it would be a really good fun actually. So that's the Mad Van, and the body shell I think is probably the best part of all this really. So Kyosho has been releasing some really interesting car recently, and this been one of those. They have a very good range of touring car as well, which are really well finished with some body which are quite special. There's a Chevelle and a few other American muscle cars. And yeah, and that's the Mad Van. Let's see if you have any more questions, anyone. Otherwise, we may close up the live for tonight.
Yep. Any questions at all?
Any questions, and we can address them. I'll see what I have around here still. There is a lot actually. Let's see. I have this one actually. This is late enough tonight, so I think we can show this one.
Yep. Very cool.
That's a kit I started some time ago. Actually, I haven't touched it for a little bit.
Mega Me device.
Yes, so I've done a little bit of progress. Let's see where we are at with this actually. So, okay, oh, she's stuck. Here we go. It's one leg. I think I remember doing an arm actually, but so far only legs. So these kits are really nice actually. The level of detail is quite remarkable actually, and they're fully articulated, and the box itself comes with a huge amount of options to recreate your girls in many different ways on many different positions. There's quite a bit of armament as well, so
Yep.
very nice kits. That's one of my projects that I guess I should eventually try to finish in the next few months.
So have we got any news on the TRX6?
Oh yes, the TRX6 is beside me here actually. Let me see what we've done in the TRX6. We put some wheels. Let me put these away, and I'll grab the TRX6 for a second. Meanwhile, Warwick said he's gonna give us the Ultima to take to the skate park actually.
Oh, Ultima at the skate park. They're
Yeah.
designed for those.
Thank you, Warwick. So if you bring it in Monday, we'll make sure to go to skate park. Well, I guess not for the next few weeks. So that's where we got with the TRX6. We got some wheels.
Yep.
Here we go. So that's all we got to. But I have quite a bit of to do actually. I have the front diff cover which I can show you, but these are the wheels. So these are metal wheel 2.2 from XO 4x4. Quite nice wheels, and these are the Pitbull actually. Pitbull tires. Here we go. So these are called Rock Beast, and they are 1.9 with a 2-stage foam inside, and that should go really well on this car. If you remember last time, we showed you the widening kit. So the rear end has got a widening kit. Let me see if you can see it here, perhaps. Yeah, there's a 12mm widening kit. So and that's where we're at with this one at the moment. But just behind here I'll show you a couple of things we're going to install. Got the diff cover. So this is the front diff cover. So we're gonna it's gonna have to be red. I have a black one I think somewhere as well, which should probably should be black or should be red. Let's see.
I reckon red.
I think red. So this one is gonna go at the front here. So see, it's gonna be this front cover here is gonna become red.
Yep.
We also have here. I think I've got quite a few other parts installed. Obviously, I need to finish the wheels. No, I can't see anything around me. But there's a bit more work that's gonna get done. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe not. We'll see. Very good. All right.
All right.
So Warwick seems to be very keen to give us his Ultima for the skate park. Tony is suggesting that we need alloy diff axles. Yeah, perhaps actually. I think we had a set at the Hobbyman a few weeks back. So if they're still there, we could attempt that. Definitely. Brass portals. Well, I think we're going to put the brass portals at the front. I thought I had them here actually. Let me see if I can still see them.
Well, the brass portals make a huge difference.
They would make a huge difference. I have them on my other crawler here. So definitely brass portal could be. Okay, red is faster, so definitely is going to be a red differential cover.
Well, Matt's been building his Liger Zero.
Aha, Matt, want to see some progress photos actually? Very good. All right then.
Yep, I'm sure everyone's got a bit of a project going on at the moment.
Yes, definitely. So let us know what you're up to. Okay, so Warwick is going to take his Ultima to Velodrome.
Oh, that's good.
That's a good idea.
Good.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to that.
Yeah, 4.5 turn.
Yep. I've seen
2S.
off-road cars on the velodrome. They go very, very well.
Yeah. Very
Especially
good.
on the fence.
I'll bring a couple of spare parts for you, Warwick.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So yeah, so if you missed the beginning, we were talking about the velodrome. If you don't know about the velodrome, then get onto the Facebook page and look on the events. We've got a little bit of info there. It'll take you over to the actual velodrome page, and they'll be updating their info there as well. Make sure you like the event because it's still a fair good away, and then we'll be updating actual dates and times, and hope to see everyone there because it's gonna be awesome.
Definitely. So Tony is building his YD2 SX3 drift car actually. That will be an interesting one to see finished actually, Tony. I haven't seen one of those I haven't seen the previous model actually built. So looking forward to see that one in person actually when we're out of this lockdown.
Yep, that's a rare chassis too from memory.
Yeah, so that's a very nice, that's a red limited edition I think he managed to get. So Yokomo is producing always a traditional black chassis, which is like the BD10 we showed you before, and then for the drift ones they have a red and a purple edition, which are always limited to a very few worldwide, and this year we managed to receive a couple of each, and obviously Tony has one of the red ones. So we put the link in the comments for the Velodrome event.
Yep, make sure you just sign up to it. So even if you're just interested, do that, and you get the updates as they come.
Absolutely. So we'll do that and put some photo of your cars so we see what you're up to. We'll be receiving actually some belted 1.8 GT tires again. Also, I think we'll receive some 1.8 buggy foam tires, which I think will be quite nice for the velodrome. I think I may end up building a GT 1.8 GT kind of chassis. Maybe the hot bodies. We have a HB Racing GT chassis there, which could be perfect for that.
Do it.
I think maybe this
Okay,
is the
cool.
time that we do it. So we'll see. So send us some photos so we get some inspiration as well.
Sure.
Ian is calling for the HB. Cool. I think you're gonna get one of those as well, Ian. Is it still the plan?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. With these foam tires, I think will be phenomenal.
Yep. It'll be good. Yep. Can't wait for it. It's been years since there's been a velodrome event.
Absolutely. And talking about foam tires, I think we just received some wheel adapters to turn 12 millimeter foam hexes to 17 millimeter hexes. So we would love to put some foam tires on this one and do it as a speed machine.
Wow.
I saw a video on YouTube just this week of a couple of guys turning this one into a speed machine. I think they're about 55, 60 miles an hour at the moment.
Wow.
Quite heavily modified, and that will be a really good one, good project to do.
Yep.
The foam tires, it should be, Tony. We'll send you a link. I'll send you a link later on. It should be on the website. If not, it'll be up. That just arrived today actually. It should be up very soon. It's in a Bismarck,
Yep.
I think, part. Don't remember the number, but we'll definitely find it for you.
Okey-dokey.
Very good. Okay,
Yep.
so all right, Ian, give us a call on Monday. We can talk about the HB.
Yep.
Fantastic. All right then. I
Okay,
think
good stuff.
we have
I think next week's going to be another big week for us. We've got a few interesting things going to pop up. So we'll show you what we have on next Friday for another interesting chat.
Absolutely. So very good. All right, so shall see you next Friday at 8:30
Yep.
p.m. same place for
Yep.
another 2 weeks only, hopefully.
Same time.
Same time, same place. So meanwhile, follow us on the social media throughout the week. Just comment on our posts so that we know what you like to see on Friday, and we'll try to make it happen the best that we can.
Yep. That's it.
All right then, everyone. Thank you very much again,
Thanks again.
and have
See
a
you
good
next time,
weekend.
man.
Have fun.
Bye.
Bye bye.